Welcome to Merlin I Am. This is our third in the series. We're happy to be here in Colorado. And if you look at the little window behind me with the snow, that's exactly what it looks like outside here in Louisville, Colorado at the Crimson Circle Connection Center.
Exactly what it looks like. We've got a snowy day here in Colorado. I guess it's the way it's supposed to be in January.
I guess.
And it's chilly outside, and it's, well, as you can see from our set here in Colorado, nice and warm in here.
Cozy.
So nice to have a little fireplace for our talk today. And
cozy.
Yeah, and it's good to be back here at the studio. We've been away for about 3 months now, and
right.
I love working here. I mean, it's got the energies of Shambra. We've got the great production crew here. It's cozy. I love it. I may stay here tonight just to be in the energies.
Okay.
Okay, she says.
Sure. I love it here, but, there's a dog I kind of like in Hawaii.
Absolutely. So it's good to be back. We're starting a new year. It's 2021, and I'm sure all of us are glad to see the year behind us now of 2020. Finally. But it doesn't say that 2021 got off to this, peaceful start or anything.
But I was a little alarmed.
This last week was probably a really, really good time for all of us to stand behind the short wall.
That's right.
I did. I did not get caught up in the drama of what was happening here in United States of America with all the festivities.
I didn't get caught in the drama, but I could feel the discomfort. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I felt it, but I knew it wasn't mine, and I didn't take it in. I watched it, and I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but I watched it with a slight sense of distance, a slight sense of amusement, and a slight sense of sadness. But I knew it wasn't mine. I could really stand behind the short wall.
What was the amusing part?
Oh, don't make me go into it because this is not a political show, but a certain lunacy. And just from my practical Virgo side, it's like, what's the point? I mean, where are we going to go with this? What do you want as the end result? But I don't even want to get into that.
Let's not.
It's such a incredible time that we're all in right now, and I think I know Adamus is going to talk about that today. He's going to talk about why we're really here, and he's.
How do you know?
Because he told me at 7:00 this morning.
Oh, that's when you got grumpy.
He tends to have I didn't get grumpy. I just got a little. I was like
testy.
Little testy, yeah. So. I know he's going to talk about that, and in a way, to me, it's very, very exciting. We've got a reason. We've got it all ties in. You'll hear it in the channel.
We all will.
Yeah. So it's still crazy out there.
It is.
But in my world, we're having a nice light snow, and it's beautiful out, and I'm happy to be here with you and Shambra from around the world.
No. I mean, I can't complain.
You could if you wanted to.
No, I can't. I mean, we truly have a nice life, and I would be stupid to even start to complain.
So anyway, welcome to everybody. Welcome back to the Crimson Circle. We're back here in Colorado, back for another shout, and really just enjoying being back. So we're going to get into it. We have a lot to cover today.
We do.
Before we do the Adamus. By the way, if you're new to the Crimson Circle, welcome. We're delighted to have you. I don't really know what to say about Crimson Circle. You'll learn it. We've got, I can say a couple things. There's a lot of pirates and rebels. This is not your mother's New Age. It's very, very different. It's not even New Age, and Adamus doesn't even like the word spiritual.
I like that he frequently alludes to the fact that it's about awareness and consciousness. And I don't know what it would take for someone to have a problem with wanting to imagine more consciousness and a more awareness. So I think that's a very, very safe platform. At least for me, I find it very comfortable.
So we welcome you to the Crimson Circle, along with all the veterans who've been around for, some of them up to 20 years.
Oh, we even refer to them as founders.
Yeah. And really these monthly shouts are kind of a historic recap of our journey. And no matter where you get on this Shambra train along the way, you'll pick it up very, very quickly. You'll realize that you've been here with us before in one way or the other. And you realize that you look back at some of the materials, what you were going through 5 or 10 years ago is probably very similar to what everybody else was who was with Crimson Circle at the time. So it's really not new. We're just getting reacquainted. So thank you for coming back.
I think when you hear the material, there's a familiarity for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we're going to take a look at our last child. We do this all the
Okay.
time. We have a little recap because we tend to forget what we talked about. This time it's been more than a month because we delayed this shout by a week. So it's been 5 weeks. Let's take a look at Merlin I Am, Shout 3. We were at Villa Amio in Kona, Hawaii when we did this shout.
I think it'll be obvious when the film starts.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not the studio.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at it. Let's start with a deep breath of abundance. Abundance, because it's natural. Nothing you work for, nothing a banker can give you, nothing your boss can give you. Abundance is natural. Let's start with that deep breath. Let's all do that together. Let's take that big deep breath and realizing that Calder has these smoke-filled lungs, but even he and me can take that deep breath together of abundance. And then savor it. Feel it expand inside your being. Don't just blow it out right away. Go ahead. A deep breath of abundance. And then, good. You know, all energy is yours. You know that, don't you?
Of course.
Mentally.
Of course,
Yes.
I know that.
Yes, but then applying it into your life, letting it into your life, it's a different thing because there's a pattern of holding back. There's a pattern of believing that it's somebody else's, something else's. So there's a pattern of really limiting it, but we're going to blow it open right now. There's no excuses. There's no not doing it. There's no waiting for tomorrow. Let's take a good deep breath together. And relax. Breathe in your abundance. Go ahead, breathe in your energy, your abundance. Breathe in your beauty. Breathe in all that you are. Breathe in every experience that you've had. There's sometimes this resistance to, well, the breath is a good indicator of how you're letting energy in. Are you breathing freely and openly? Or are you making excuses? Or are you just limiting the breath so you have barely enough oxygen coming in? You take a good deep breath. A fulfilled breath of your energy, of your abundance, of your free energy body. And yeah, it's a little tough at first, because there is a natural built-in resistance to doing it. And most people don't take that good deep breath of their energy. A lot of Shumber, you've been leaving. Stop that. Stop that. You don't have to. Linda Farrow was ill for a long time. And I'm going to tell you something that it may not go over so well for some of you. She fought her illness for a long time. No more of that. You don't fight the illnesses. When the energy is yours, what are you fighting? Well, you're only going to be fighting yourself. And what fighting yourself is going to do is make you even more sick. It's going to confirm your state of imbalance and disease. So you're only fighting yourself. No, you breathe it in. So, COVID, it really started up at the very beginning of the year, arguably even about 1 year ago this time, and swept across the planet. It's taken a lot of lives, a lot of lives. It's gotten a lot of people sick, but more than anything, what it's done is changed consciousness on the planet. As difficult as COVID has been, particularly with all the deaths and all the fear surrounding it, I want you to be able to breathe it in. I want you to feel into this for a moment. As you're breathing in this whole dynamic of COVID on the planet with compassion, those 1.5 million who crossed over, whereas in the past, most of them would have gotten stuck in the near-Earth realms. 85% would have got stuck in the near-Earth realms for sure. Now, with all the changes that have occurred in all of cosmos, Now, about, I have to get my numbers right, but almost 70% now have gone on to the new Earths. So when they do come back, some of them actually already have. When they do come back, they're coming back with more consciousness and less baggage. From my perspective, what's happening on the planet right now is a tremendous surge of consciousness. It's pretty simple. You have an event like COVID come along, everybody's got to stay home. When they stay home for a long period of time, they do this thing that most humans really, really fear. They self-assess. They have to take a look at themselves. You know exactly what it's like. You've done that. And that's really what was the result of either caused your awakening or came shortly after your awakening. Now we have a whole planet doing it. Not everybody, but enough that consciousness changes on the planet. We're going to talk now about thinking. Thinking. Humans think far too much, and they don't know anything else. They think about thinking, but there's another way to do it. That's the and of what we're doing here. Most people just think and forget to experience, but masters, they do it different. So right under here, the first thing is logic. In the linear world of the human, there's logic. What's the master counterpart? Linda, any fantasy?
Oh.
Fantasy.
Cool.
Now, fantasy, the word has its origins in the word imagination, but also, if you really dig deep into the word history, it also has its origins in just meaning to go through, to open and allow. Let's take a deep breath with that and go on to the next one over here. Under linear, we got time. Time brings about gravity, and I'll call it time-space. What would be the opposite of time? Eterna. A-E-T-E-R-N-A. And what that means is without the need for time. And this is the natural way of all that is. It doesn't have the element of time. Next on our list, let's put memories. Now, memories and facts, neither one of them are fully complete. The master, instead of a lot of memories and a lot of facts, the master is simply going for experience. And there's one more on the list here to top it off. Judgment. You, typical human living their logical life, confined in time and space, holding on to memories which are not really true, and they're calling them facts when indeed they're just emotions and fear, then gets very judgmental. And the judgments now close them down. What does the master do? I'll just call it as is. As is. The master simply looks and says, look at that energy. It's as is. It is what it is. This is the way the master lives. And you don't have to work at this. You don't have to remember a thing I said. It's happening anyway. That's why you're feeling a little odd. That's why you're having weird dreams, feeling that you can't make up your damn mind about anything. Well, that's good, because then you don't go to judgment and old memories, and you're just as is, a being, a wise being in experience.
Well, that was quite a recap.
It was. It's always quite a recap, because I always forget what we did.
Well, I like that because it threads it back together. So it's like, okay, there's the stitch, loop it back. Now we'll keep going.
Of course, while I was watching it, I was thinking, oh, it was so nice and warm there. And of course, Billa dog was there. And it's like, oh, can't wait to go back. But I'm loving it here, but I can't wait to go back. So that was my perception. We're going to take a look at some of the upcoming events that we have. We have quite a bit on the schedule. We have 3 big upcoming events that are happening in the next month or so. We're going to jump in and take a look at the very first one right now. Wow, just that intro is enough to make me want to watch it. Well, I'm going to be channeling it, but makes me
Well,
want to channel it.
I'm pretty clear especially when I talk to other Shambra, one of the things that makes Pronost probably really incredible is that it's not like it's about forecasting the future. It's about perspective on the
Right.
planet and what elsewhere for that matter. And so I'm really more than ever want to know what that perspective is that Adamus is going to share, because it's been very, very amazing supportive information historically.
Oh, I love Pronost. It's turned into be such an annual thing. I love channeling it. It's a lot of upfront preparation. I mean, I get to get my energy really prepared for it, and Adamus rarely tells me what he's going to be doing unless we need to know from a production standpoint. But it's pretty intense, and I look forward to it. But on the other hand, I kind of not dreading it, but it's like, oh, this is going to be a lot of energy, and it's a week from now.
I know.
It's a week from now.
You love it?
I
Don't you love
it
everything you
after
channel?
I'm done with it. But
there
that's
we
one of the
go.
ones that's really intense
Good to
going
know.
into it.
Okay, see, now you all know.
It's a week from today.
Yep.
Right here live from the Crimson Circle studio in Colorado, January 16th online. Usually it's 3 sessions. I assume it's going to stay the same. It is truly one of the most popular Adamus events of the year. People have really come looking forward to this, and it kind of sets the pace for the entire year.
Well, he doesn't smush over things. He says it like it is.
Well, and normally Adamus doesn't talk about world events, and it irritates people sometimes. They want to know why he doesn't talk about some of the civil unrest, and why he doesn't talk about hunger, and why, because he's really focused with us on our journey, and that can be a huge distraction.
The perspective we need to support us.
But once a year, he talks about the global trends and directions in Pronost. It's always insightful, always provocative. Boy, it'll get your brain going. And the early bird price is just $75. It's
a
through
good value.
January 10th, so that's through tomorrow.
And with as crazy as everything is, I'm really curious to hear where this goes.
I'm really curious. And you'll have, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken,
Don't say if you don't know.
you got some time to watch the videos afterwards. You don't have to watch live. It's either, I don't know.
Well, for anyone, because
little while.
we have an international audience all over the world, and so you can go to the store to look up any of these things that we're talking about and get the details for how long the window is that you have to actually watch these things, because it varies from event to event, and we didn't write it all down.
Right, and coming up after that is Aspectology Online. We do this once a year online. This year it's January 22nd through the 24th. Linda and I live host it right here from the studio.
We're here with you.
It's one of the core Crimson Circle classes. I mean, we consider this as one of the top, maybe
Second only maybe to SES.
Yeah, top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
And what we do with Aspectology, because it's so important, we're here at the studio all weekend. Linda and I are here live, just like we are here now. We're here live, and we're with you. We do breathing into the sessions. We talk a little bit about the sessions. We give our perspective, particularly for Aspectology, what it was like to channel that, because there were some interesting twists and turns in it. And then in between, we play the Adamus and the Tobias and the Adamus segments.
It was originally Tobias, and then as has been happening is, Tobias was sort of the pre-new energy,
Right.
and Adamus then added his flavor of the new energy. And so in a way, there's a healing aspect to it that I think came from Tobias, but with Adamus takes it to a way where there are real tools here about how to really work with yourself.
Well, you learn what an aspect is. We all have them. It's our creative nature as a human to create aspects, how they go to work for us, what they do in our everyday life, but also how aspects can get dissociated due to trauma, due to a lot of different things, and how some of those aspects literally are working against you at times. We go deeply into the what we call the gray and the dark aspects, and a lot of people come to realize those crazy voices they hear in their head, and some of the things that seem to be coming from the outside actually so often are the aspects.
And then on the other hand, with Adamus, he works very closely with the fact that, for instance, maybe you're a school teacher, and when you get in front of a class with your students, there's a role you play. I mean, an aspect can be like a role, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, it's very, very creative, actually.
Absolutely.
Very, very creative.
Absolutely.
But there are parts of it that can be very upsetting, very dysfunctional, I guess, dysfunctional members of your aspect family. Let's take a look at aspectology, a little bit more about what it is, what it does.
Each of us at times find ourselves in difficult or challenging circumstances. Whether these situations are clearly self-created or appear to be the product of chance, it's frustrating when life goes into disarray. From things like self-sabotage, bad luck, and debilitating fear, to harassment from other people and repeating patterns of failure, it can seem that the odds are always stacked against you. But there's actually nothing wrong. You're simply playing out old unconscious patterns. All too often, these episodes are caused by unintegrated aspects, parts of our personality operating unconsciously and triggering difficulties of all kinds. Once you understand what's really happening, you can get back in the driver's seat of your life. The new energy psychology called aspectology is based on the understanding that you are whole and complete at the core. This new and very effective path to genuine healing requires a deep commitment to self. Those who have made this ongoing choice have reported remarkable inner renewal, the end of destructive patterns, and profound life changes. This new energy psychology will provide you a new understanding for true restoration. Aspectology, for giving you back to yourself.
That's pretty big. We go from
think it says it all.
pronos to aspectology being January 22nd through the 24th. If you have taken it in the past, you want to retake it, we have what we call a graduate discount. But it's always, any of these live hosted cloud class I'd love to do.
Well, and I'll tell you this too. I mean, I've had, since I have sat through many of these events and seen the videos repeatedly, you'd think that that's it, but every time you see it, something new happens, something evolves within you, and in what happened in the old energy when I heard it versus when I heard it in the new energy, or even in the last year, there's an evolution that occurs because you see it from a different perspective each time you do it.
Then moving on, I mean, if that wasn't
Oh,
enough, we've got Threshold online, February 12th through the 14th. That's coming up in about a month. Now, this is only the second time we've ever done Threshold online. The first time was back in August, I believe, and an amazing number of people taking it. Threshold for years and years was kind of the premier Crimson Circle live workshop event. We always limited it to about 25 people. The information is very dynamic, very big, very big. And it's so much
personal,
and
very personal.
It's a lot about the dragon and a whole experience of coming into realization and then having to face the dragon, and it's very intense. So we held off for a long time of doing it online, but finally back in, I think it was June or July last year, Adamus said go ahead and record it and have it available by the end of August, so we rushed to get it done.
I really believe that Adamus had us go through it so many times with live audiences that when he asked Jeff to channel it to record it, it was because of all those experiences that Adamus felt Jeff was ready to channel it.
Oh, literally, I think we had done 17 or something live events around the world, and I think they were all integrated into when we did the final channel for what you would see in Threshold online. That's coming up. Let's take a quick look at Threshold online. I am that I am, Adamus of Saint Germain. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Threshold. I can't tell you how much I've been anticipating this, waiting for the time, if it even was going to come, where we would be gathering like this to do the Threshold. It's the last thing that anyone will do before their realization. Everyone goes through it. They may call it by different names. Certainly all the experiences vary. All the stories are different, but it's the last thing one goes through before their realization. And here we are. Here we are. You'll learn in these next few sessions what the real name of this is, and it is sacred. That's also why I never wanted this other name you'll become very, very familiar with. I didn't want it in the title or the description of what we're doing here. It's too sacred. It's too personal to put out there. It's very, very personal. It's interesting what we call the threshold. It's very interesting because this is not being taught anywhere else on the planet, never has been. Every ascended master up to this point, 9,888, these ascended masters have gone through it on their own. There's no books about it, no courses about it. That's what I love about the Threshold. It's the first time we're taking this sacred information, this holy information, and talking about it. Now, please understand, it's not a method. It's not a 10 steps to realization. It's a culmination of many, many lifetimes. It's an understanding and a knowingness that you're going to go through. It's what can be a very brutal time. I'll tell you right now, it can be a very brutal time, but hopefully by discussing it and helping you to understand it, it's not going to be as brutal. But there are times when you're going to feel you're being torn apart. And I'll explain. We'll get into all of this as we go through the Threshold. A big part of the Threshold is the dragon. The dragon. We have a dragon sitting right here, just as a constant reminder throughout this. And you will encounter the dragon, no doubt. By the way, if you think you already have, you think you've already done all this, just stop for a moment. You haven't even started. But the real purpose of the dragon is clarity. Clarity. That's what actually dragon means. It brings everything to clarity. And the dragon also clears out everything within you that is held in guilt and shame and remorse. Because as every ascended master will tell you when you get up to the Ascended Masters Club, you cannot go into realization with these issues. You cannot. You simply cannot. We're going to be talking a lot more about the dragon as we go in. It's a highly, highly energized symbol. You're going to find that dragon is going to be waking up. You may say, oh, no, the dragon's already been here. No. You're feeling kind of a shadow of a dragon, but the dragon's going to be waking up. Once we actually turn the corner in this gathering, there's no turning back. There's no deciding that maybe it's not the right time for you. In the next few days, I'll inform you when we come to that point. There's no turning back. So why are you here? Because it's time, because you've chosen it, but because there's nothing else left. This is it. No more dallying, no more distractions, no more delays, procrastination. This is it.
I hope you saw how interesting that can be. Can you remember that SES is the only prerequisite for it, and it's about the SES is the energy management that really can support you going through this very personal journey of threshold.
And for those who are new, SES, the Sexual Energy School, it is a prerequisite for Threshold. I think it's the only online class that we have a prerequisite for, but we feel it's such a premier class and it dives so deep into things
Very
that
personal.
it's really important to have that background with the Sexual Energy School, which we offer on your online twice a year. So we're looking forward to this one. According to the survey results of everyone who's taken the Threshold online, 75% of them said that it's life-changing, and the rest said that it was really, really good. So excellent feedback. It is life-changing. It's pretty tough in a lot of ways, but it does provide that last thing you know that you need before realization. So that's coming up February 12th through the 14th. We're going to be right here with you at the Crimson Circle Connection Center in Kona, actually, not right here. I forgot we're going to be back in Hawaii at that point.
Oh my God, and we timed it with Valentine's weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Holy smoke.
Yeah. So Threshold, it's online if you're ready.
If you're ready.
Let's take a look at the winter spring events in Kona that are coming up. These are the live events.
In spite of the craziness and everything, we're pretty excited that we are going to be doing our Hawaii events. And, you know, there have been some crazy travel stuff, but actually, Hawaii was relatively strict, and particularly the Big Island. And the magic of that is it has the least cases of COVID per capita of any other area in the United States. It's phenomenal what they did because they didn't want it.
Absolutely. So we have a series of events coming up. We'll go through them very quickly. But we want to say for anybody who has signed up, we fully intend to be there, not to cancel. We're going to be there anyway.
We will be there.
We're gonna do the events one way or the other.
We don't care if there's 2 people, 10 people, 20 people,
I'd
40
like to
people.
see more than, I'd like to see a group,
It's
but
not- that's
we're
not what I'm
going to do it.
saying.
So very quickly on...
I'm just saying that we are not canceling the event.
That's right. For the COVID restrictions in Hawaii, you have to get one of these tests 72 hours in advance from a certified provider. You can't just go to anybody, but it's listed on the Hawaii COVID website pages who you can go to. And then you have to be able to present that when you arrive in Hawaii. There's another very quick test at the airport. It lasts about 10, 15 minutes. I think it's just like a saliva test.
It was no big deal.
And
we
then,
did it.
Then, yeah, we did it. And it's not a big deal. Then you're free to go. If you don't have that test, you have to quarantine for 10 days. They're pretty strict about it, too. Pretty strict. But we feel and felt much safer there than we do back here on the mainland.
Right.
Just because they've really controlled it so well.
Truly, they have.
So we are planning the events. No plan to cancel anything. And again, like Linda said, if there's just a few people, we're still going to do it because we want to see you.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And if you're able to make it, you'll love it.
So the first event coming up is February 20th through the 24th, and that is the Energy Works Workshop. We have 11 spaces open on that. Particularly if you're living in North America, it's pretty easy now. Airline fares are low. It's pretty easy to grab a flight over, even at the last minute. We do have spaces open.
The airlines really want your business, and they're being fairly competitive right now, way more than typically.
Exactly. Then the next event after that is March 22nd through the 26th, and that's the Energy Works Workshop. Also,
Again,
15 spaces open. So a lot of places for Shambhala. So often these events are sold out almost the moment we mention them, but here we have some openings in February and in March.
So in April, we also have events. We have the Master's Code, April 11th through the 15th. And then we have another Energy Works, April 21st to the 25th.
Both of those are sold out. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And then we go into May. We've got Master's Code in May. That is sold out. And then finally, the Channeling Workshop, May 17th through the 31st, or 17th through the 21st. That has a lot of spaces open, 21 spaces. And we don't care whether, again, it's 5 people. We're still going to do the workshop and get into channeling.
Well, a lot of people transferred from the events that we had to cancel to to this year's.
Right.
And the channeling workshop we added, it was an addition. It wasn't
added.
part of last year's
Yeah.
events.
But you can see we have some spaces open, others are sold out, but right now everything looks like with the COVID, you get that test 72 hours in advance, you're good to go.
Truly.
That brings us to the summer of 2021. We're still doing a lot of planning around it, but we do know that we're going to have the Sexual Energy School again, June 18th through the 20th. Linda and I will be live hosting it for the entire weekend.
Correct.
Af-
And then our big events. Okay.
After that, travel to Europe.
So, we were supposed, it's the same thing, 2020, we just goofed everything up, but now we are going back to Europe, and amazingly, most of the events have all sold out like they were before, but there's a couple openings.
Not much. Channeling Workshop,
Okay.
which is September 1st through the 5th in Rust, Austria, one of our favorite places, that's sold out.
Okay.
Then right after that, we're going to Bled, Slovenia for the annual big gathering. This is the time of the Merlin. It's at Lake Bled, Slovenia, September 11th through the 12th.
There's a few spaces for that.
Well, when you consider we have a total of 500 spaces, there's only 150 spaces left. So it's starting to sell through. So
Sure.
but you see the 150 spaces, it sounds like a lot, but considering there's 500 to begin with, that's over 2/3 sold out.
So that event is so popular. That's our biggest event of the year. And if you want to see 500 Shaumbra in person, acting like Shaumbra and being well supported by the community of Bled, that's the place to go.
And I can't wait to go back.
I know.
It's
fun and great.
Well, and then after that, you'd add to the wonderfulness of the trip. Then we go back down to the south of France for the Energy Works workshop in the Camargue area.
Oh, and then in the evening we can do soy.
Well, we might even get soy there during the day.
I know. I'm excited about that potential.
So that's the lineup of events that we have coming, and now it's time for Shaumbra News.
Oh, boy.
It's time to
Are we
party
ready?
and dance and get into it. I think we're ready. Let's take a look at Shaumbra News. First of all, the Shaumbra magazine, the award-winning Shaumbra magazine, is out. That's where all the news is. Great articles as always. And I know I always say that, but they're always great articles.
Well, it's a great way to keep up.
Yeah, and it literally lists everything, all the events, all the new products, great articles. There's a really good one in there this month from Serena, who worked with Norma for a long time, and it's about her aspect. She had over 330 multiple personalities, and it's a wonderful
She was
story.
quite troubled by it.
But it's amazing to see
Right.
how she's integrated that all back together. So
Right.
she just came out with a book that explains her journey. So it was a delight to have her write an article for the magazine.
Okay.
After that,
Whoa.
we want to mention a special message that came out from St. Germain on 12/12/20. It's a free message, and our beloved St. Germain felt it was so important to kind of talk about everything that occurred in 2020, kind of put it together in a nutshell. So it's an audio. I forgot if it was video. I think it's video too. So we're going to take a look right now at the trailer. So I think it's also video.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. People are under tremendous pressure right now and anxiety. They want to go back to the old days. Although, if they really look carefully, the old days weren't all that great. They don't know how to go into the new days. But if there are enough humans on the planet shining their light, enough humans like you who are in consciousness and simply sharing that light, there's a very good chance that they'll see something in their own energy, see potentials that they never saw before, never could have seen before without that light. And that has the potential to change them, to change the planet, to bring us into this new era of humanity. not just for the planet, but for the cosmos, for all soul beings in the post-angelic family era of what comes next.
Well, that's a really quite a nice presentation from Saint Germain. But do you think Adamus could leave that alone?
No, because he came right back with his own as Adamus. But I just want to stop for a moment on that, the one with Saint Germain,
Okay.
the 12-12-2020.
Sure.
Such a strong message. And Saint Germain, Adamus is Saint Germain, but Saint Germain has a very different energy, very, very different to channel. Very serious.
Can
There's
feel
no
it.
goofing around, which I kind of miss sometimes. But when I know when Saint Germain comes through, it's going to be very focused and very relevant and very important. So he had that message we did while we were in Hawaii. As a matter of fact, I heard the birds in the background. I didn't realize you could hear the birds.
Everybody tells us that,
Yeah,
Jeffrey.
but I didn't realize it.
Well,
but
they're so vibrant and they're very noisy.
Yeah,
Sweetly
so it was
noisy.
a very important message and free of charge. Shortly after that, Adamus wanted a message called In the Air. This tied in with a grand conjunction that occurred at the end of
2020?
end of December. I forgot the exact date, but it occurred with that. And he also gave a message. This is audio only. It's free of charge. But let's take a listen to.
I think it was 1221.
Yeah, he was 1221. Oh, yeah, 1221. That's right. He was saying goodbye to 2020 and looking at what comes next. So let's take a little listen on that free audio. We have this amazing series of events right here at the end of your year 2020. We have the winter solstice, the grand conjunction, and we have, of course, the 10,000 ascended masters. And what can you take away from this? What are the important things? For you personally, it's a time of new beginnings, a new era, a new path. It's the perfect time right now to allow your energy to serve you like never before. No excuses, no holding back, but to allow energy to serve you. Let's take a breath with that and realize now all of this that we've talked about for years, all we've gone through together now is truly the highest potential for that to take place. Right now at the end of the year 2020. And the other important takeaway from all this, if you choose to realize these potentials that are now available, so strongly available to you right now in these days, is personal freedom.
I think you'll really enjoy that message from Adamus. It was very nice and comforting and interesting that he wanted to do it on 12/21 with all the different funny conjunctions going on at that time.
So these are two very important, really great downloads, free of charge, and we encourage you, if you haven't already watched or listened to them, to do that now. So that takes us into a new thing that we're doing. We're calling the Crimson Circle Spotlight. The way this came about is we've been doing this extensive project with going back and archiving all the information from the last 20 years. You know, we had the information, but it wasn't properly indexed and archived, and Dear Billy has been doing all that and having a phenomenal time putting together that library.
And it was a huge part of what Adamus basically was demanding.
Yeah, Adamus said to get your house in order, which we've been trying to do in many different respects. But as we've been going through this indexing and cataloging, Jean has been doing what we call a CPR project, content, something. We're getting it all together. So finding old materials, searching for them, us knowing where it is going to be so much easier. Well, we realized there are some phenomenal products that came out years ago we'd kind of forgotten about because we're pretty busy on an everyday basis. You know, you're rolling along, you forget what's down in the basement or in the attic.
Jeffrey, you're kind of like one of those let's go new forward kind of guys, and
Yeah.
you're kind of picky like
Yeah,
that.
just keep rolling.
So it was
Yeah.
kind of fun when our own group came to us and said, "Wait, we've got some really good stuff that's more relevant than ever," and that's what actually Jean is the one that really
Yeah.
introduced the idea of Crimson Circle Spotlight.
Yeah, so she was listening to or doing the CPR, doing the evaluation on this product called Consciousness Revolution. It was recorded in 2014. And the insights that were in there, I mean, I've forgotten about a lot of this stuff. So we developed this thing called Product Spotlight. The first product that we're going to spotlight is coming up, well, it's available right now, is Consciousness Revolution.
And what I want to add to this is it's that thing that we keep realizing that we may have thought we'd heard something and that, oh, it's old. But then what happens is as we keep moving and evolving and expanding, that you look at this stuff and all of a sudden with this new energy and this expansion, you see into this material like you never could have when it first came out.
Oh, absolutely. Consciousness Revolution, it's kind of beyond physics. It's beyond metaphysics, even quantum physics, because it's Adamus physics.
Right.
We recorded it back in August 2014, and probably more timely now than ever before.
Absolutely.
There's 3 sessions in it. They're all stellar, and it's $75. So let's take a look at kind of a recap of Consciousness Revolution. This material is for those who take responsibility for their own lives. Consciousness calls forth energy for you, for your reality, for your experience, for your delight and entertainment. But it's up to you, the human embodied being, to be responsive or not. If you choose not to, that's fine. But then you lose all rights to complain about your life. Math, science, physics will never, ever get you to understand how to create. They will just help you to understand how things were created. The problem with science, math, and the other disciplines is they're correct in the moment, but the moment and consciousness changes. It's consciousness that causes particles to act and react. It's not physics, it's not electromagnetics that cause it. The core cause of everything, the movement of the stars, the growth of trees, the change of the seasons, the food that's gone into your system and it's digested and put into nutrients for your body. The core of every movement, every motion, in all of creation is consciousness. You don't have to be a scientist, a mathematician, a scholar to be a creator. All you have to know is that consciousness affects everything. Everything. Time is the element that holds together this physical universe. Time is you could say, the greatest deceiver of all, and perhaps one of the most amazing experiences you'll ever have. But it is time that has sucked you in. This afternoon in our next session, we'll go out of time. I guarantee you, right now, you're not going to be lost. You're simply going to be more aware. A feeling of completeness is communicating with every part of you that was in the past. It was an illusion that something happened and it had to stay that way. It was all an illusion. Held together by time. The wise one understands that they can step out of time anytime. The The wise one understands that they can coexist in time and without time. The wise one understands that consciousness is not thought. It's awareness. It's choice. It's beingness. The wise one understands that they can be anywhere and nowhere, anytime and no time, all at once. Time to be conscious, time to remember, time for the old gig to be up.
Wow.
That's a great one.
Adamus all over it.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is. And I would say for anybody who's relatively new to the Crimson Circle, that is a great recap of so many of the things that we've been talking about and
Right.
doing for not just before 2014,
No,
but
evolving with
ever
it.
since.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had started coming out with all this stuff so far back. So it's like a hidden treasure. We have more coming up that they found in the archives that we're going to be kind of spotlighting each and every month. But I love that. I mean, that was amazing.
Very good material.
Yeah.
Very, very good material. So,
So,
Happy New Year. Happy 2021. We are at such pleasure to be here with you and to thank you for being a part of the energy. We all are a part of the energy. We can feel you, and we are glad to be here with you. And special thanks to the angels. What you offer and share with us in energy is beyond words. To the translators, doing incredible work behind the scenes, amazing. And then, of course, our web hosts, once again, doing incredible work, and the volunteers that in so many different ways support Chambre and Crimson Circle. We can't thank you enough.
if you take a look on the back couple of pages of the Chambre magazine, we have a listing of the entire Crimson Circle worldwide global team, and lists all the translators, all the web hosts, our regular staff, our part-time staff. It's all back there. When we first compiled this, I was kind of blown away at the extent of the team that is out there, the team that it takes to bring all this together. And at the same time, we're creating an amazing library of this journey from going from awakening into mastery and staying on the planet. So appreciation to each and every one of you out there for being part of this. And Linda and I
It's an amazing creation.
are
Thank
so
you so
honored
much.
to be part of it with you.
And special thanks to our studio staff here, always doing an incredible job to support and allow us to create these events for you.
And covering up our mistakes.
Yes,
Yes,
as
so
best
we
they
thank
can.
them for that as best they can. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back in about 35 minutes. We're going to take a break and hear what Adamus has to say to kick off the new year. Thank you for being here. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.